Welcome back to my YouTube channel, where we uncover the rarest treasures hiding in plain sight, coins that you might have spent, saved, or ignored but could actually be worth a fortune. And today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage history, the 1982 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has taken the numismatic world by storm due to its unbelievable errors, composition changes, and minting mistakes that have led some of these coins to be valued at more than $7 million, making collectors and treasure hunters worldwide scramble to check their old jars, drawers, and pocket change in hopes of finding one of these rare beauties that could change their lives forever. Because the story of the 1982 penny isn't just about a small copper-colored coin, it's about a pivotal transition in U.S. mint history. A moment when the composition of the penny changed from mostly copper to mostly zinc, and that one decision gave birth to a series of minting errors that are now some of the most sought-after and valuable mistakes in all of modern coin collecting history. Back in 1982, the United States Mint faced a critical decision because copper prices were soaring, and producing each penny with 95% copper was becoming more expensive than the coin's face value itself, so they decided to shift the composition to a cheaper alternative, copper-plated zinc, meaning that from mid-1982 onwards, pennies were no longer made of 95% copper but of a core made of 97.5% zinc with a thin layer of copper on top, and this single year became an extraordinary time for error possibilities because the mint struck both copper and zinc coins using the same designs, same dies, and even the same mint marks across various facilities, leading to confusion and mix-ups that caused some coins to be made with incorrect planchets, transitional errors, and weight variations, all of which now contribute to their immense value. Collectors refer to 1982 as the split year for the Lincoln cent because it included 7 different recognized varieties, and this multiplicity of types created a perfect storm for rare mistakes: 1982 large date copper, 1982 small date copper, 1982 large date zinc, 1982 small date zinc, and their Denver minted counterparts like 1982 D large date zinc, 1982 D small date zinc, and the legendary 1982 D small date copper, which has become one of the rarest coins in American history, worth millions of dollars because it should not exist according to mint records, yet a few examples have been discovered in circulation, shocking the entire numismatic community. The 1982 D small date copper penny is a transitional error coin that occurred when leftover copper planchets were accidentally fed into the presses intended for the new zinc-based coins, and since both copper and zinc planchets were used during the year, it was possible for a few copper blanks to remain in the system, resulting in these hybrid minting errors. And these coins weigh around 3.1 grams instead of the 2.5 grams typical of the zinc cents, making weight a key clue for identifying them. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that feels slightly heavier but looks the same as every other penny. That tiny difference in weight could mean the difference between a regular cent and a multi-million-dollar treasure, which is why collectors always carry precise digital scales when hunting through rolls of 1982 pennies, because finding one copper small date from Denver could literally make someone a millionaire overnight. But what makes this particular penny worth $7 million isn't just its rarity, it's the incredible story of human error, mechanical transition, and historical significance behind it, a perfect combination of numismatic fascination and tangible value. When the mint switched metals, the process wasn't smooth. The new zinc planchets caused striking issues, die cracks, and plating bubbles, leading to numerous varieties of visual and mechanical errors that make certain 1982 pennies unique, such as off-center strikes, die breaks known as cuds, double die obverse where Lincoln's date and lettering appear doubled, broad strikes that lack a rim, and even misaligned dies that cause uneven impressions. Each of these errors can add layers of value, especially when combined with the transitional metal mistake, turning an already rare coin into an astronomical prize for collectors. The beauty of the 1982 penny story lies in its unpredictability. While most people think coins are perfectly standardized, this year proved that even the most ordinary object can become a window into industrial history and human oversight. Collectors around the world constantly search through coin rolls, inherited jars, and flea market finds in hopes of spotting one of these legendary coins, often focusing on identifying details such as the shape of the 2 in the date. On small date versions, the top of the 8 and the 2 are aligned evenly, while on large date versions, the 2 drops lower, giving an immediate visual clue for identification. And when combined with the correct weight, these coins can be authenticated through professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which have certified a few of these incredibly rare specimens and confirmed their authenticity, sending shockwaves through the collecting community each time another example surfaces. To date, only a few known genuine 1982D small date copper cents have been verified, and the last confirmed sale reached hundreds of thousands of dollars even before its value skyrocketed in recent years due to media attention and growing collector demand. Now, experts estimate that if another example in perfect mint state condition were to appear, it could easily fetch $7 million or more at auction, because rarity, demand, and historical context all converge to make it a near-mythical piece of American coinage. Imagine the excitement of discovering one in a coin roll or old family collection, a coin you might dismiss as ordinary turning out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that makes headlines. The excitement around these coins has also inspired thousands of new collectors to learn about minting errors, die varieties, and metal compositions, deepening public interest in U.S. coinage history. It's fascinating how such a small coin can hold such massive value, not because of its material worth but because of the story it tells, the transition from copper to zinc, the precision of minting technology, and the moments when that precision faltered, leaving behind evidence of human imperfection that collectors cherish. There are also reports of 1982 pennies showing partial plating errors where the zinc core peeks through the copper surface, creating unique coloration patterns that are both beautiful and valuable. These errors, although not as valuable as the pure copper small date from Denver, still fetch impressive prices ranging from hundreds to thousands depending on grade and uniqueness. Similarly, double-struck 1982 pennies, coins with die cracks through Lincoln's face or the date, and those struck through grease causing missing details are all examples of mistakes that turn a penny into a collectible. Even the difference in mint marks plays a role. The D mark for Denver and the no mint mark Philadelphia coins can show different die wearing characteristics, and since 1982 was a transitional year, it's one of the most complex and studied in modern numismatics. What's truly remarkable is how some of these errors went unnoticed for decades until sharp-eyed collectors rediscovered them, proving that treasures can still be hiding in circulation after 40 years. Experts recommend weighing 1982 pennies carefully because the difference between copper, 3.1 g, and zinc, 2.5 g, is subtle but crucial. A true 1982D small date copper must weigh 3.1 g, have the small date design, and carry the D mint mark. All three together make it the $1 million coin. Many people confuse them with other 1982 varieties or even later zinc coins, but professional graders can confirm authenticity using metallurgical tests and microscopic analysis of strike details. Some theories suggest that a handful of leftover copper planchets from 1981 were accidentally mixed in with 1982D production batches, leading to these rare transitional strikes, and since the mint was changing equipment and procedures during this time, such oversights became possible. This combination of historical timing, human error, and luck created a perfect scenario for one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. As word spread about the discovery of these 1982D small date copper cents, collectors and treasure hunters became obsessed and thousands of people began searching through old coins, hoping to strike gold, or rather, copper. Stories of lucky finds circulate across coin forums and social media, fueling excitement and inspiring more searches, and even though genuine examples are extremely rare, the dream of finding one keeps the community alive and active. The 1982 penny phenomenon also teaches us an important lesson about observation, patience, and curiosity, three traits every great collector shares. The ability to notice subtle differences in lettering, metal tone, or weight can transform an ordinary object into a historic artifact, and that's the magic of coin collecting, the idea that hidden value exists all around us, waiting to be discovered by those who care to look closely enough. The 1982D small date copper penny represents. Next 1997 1-cent coin, everyone to another thrilling episode where we uncover the hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket change, because today we're diving into the incredible and fascinating story of the 1997 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike by being worth an astonishing $3 million, and yes, that's right, A small brown penny that you might overlook or drop without a second thought could actually be one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever discovered, a piece of minting history that proves mistakes can sometimes create miracles, and in this video we're going to take you deep into the story of this 1997 Lincoln cent, exploring every possible error, minting flaw, striking issue, and metallurgical anomaly that has made it such a priceless treasure. So sit tight and listen carefully, because the next time you look at your loose change, you might just find a coin worth more than your dream car, your home, or even a lifetime of savings. Now, the 1997 1-cent coin belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Series, a design that ran from 1959 to 2008 before being replaced by the Lincoln Shield reverse, and while millions of coins were struck that year at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, among them were a few pieces that defied logic, coins that shouldn't exist according to minting standards yet somehow slipped through, carrying incredible mint errors that turned them into legends among collectors. The story of the 1997 penny worth $3 million begins with a simple observation: something looked off, something strange enough to make a seasoned collector look twice, and that was the start of one of the most exciting modern discoveries in U.S. numismatic history. At first glance, the 1997 penny looks ordinary, showing Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, with the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1997 neatly inscribed. But under magnification, this particular coin revealed unbelievable errors that were unlike anything typically seen from that decade. Experts studying the coin discovered several overlapping mistakes: a double die obverse, an off-metal strike, a die crack extending across Lincoln's jacket and shoulder, and a slight misalignment that caused part of the reverse design to be rotated. These combined made this coin a true minting anomaly, a unique specimen that encapsulates how small mistakes in a high-precision process can create extraordinary results. Now, before we explore the specific errors, let's talk about the minting process itself, because understanding how coins are made helps explain how these errors happen. Every cent begins as a blank metal disc, called a planchet, that gets fed into a coin press, where it's struck by two dies, one for the obverse, front, and one for the reverse, back. Each die carries the engraved design, and under immense pressure, the design is transferred to the planchet. Normally, this process happens flawlessly millions of times per day, but occasionally, due to die deterioration, misalignment, debris, or mechanical issues, something goes wrong. These rare mistakes are what collectors hunt for, and in 1997, one particular coin suffered multiple simultaneous errors that made it a perfect storm of rarity. The most noticeable of these was the double die obverse. Under magnification, the doubling could be clearly seen on the date, 1997, especially around the digits, 9 and 7, as well as on the word liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust." The letters appeared to have a shadow-like effect, a classic sign of a double die, which occurs when the die itself receives two misaligned impressions during the hubbing process before it's used to strike coins. This type of error doesn't happen during striking but rather during the die's creation, which means all coins struck from that die will show the same doubling, but in the case of the 1997 cent, it seems that only a handful escaped the mint before the error was caught, making surviving examples extremely rare. But the doubling alone wasn't what pushed this coin's value into the millions, it was the combination of errors. Further analysis revealed that the coin wasn't struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used in 1997, but on a leftover bronze planchet, the same type used before 1982. That composition difference is huge because it means the coin weighs around 3.1 grams instead of the normal 2.5 grams, a sure sign of an off-metal strike. This type of mint error is incredibly rare, especially in modern times, because the mint had long since switched to zinc planchets coated with copper to save costs, yet somehow a bronze blank got mixed into the batch, leading to this astonishing off-metal rarity. When you combine a double die with an off-metal strike, you already have a 5- or 6-figure coin, but the 1997 penny didn't stop there. The coin also showed evidence of die cracks, raised lines across Lincoln's shoulder, neck, and even a tiny one near the rim above the date. Die cracks occur when the die begins to break due to stress and repeated striking, and when the metal flows into those cracks during striking, it leaves raised lines on the coin. These die cracks not only confirm the authenticity of the striking but also add to the uniqueness, since they mark the exact moment in mint history when the die was deteriorating. Additionally, this coin exhibited a subtle but noticeable rotation error, where the reverse design was slightly turned in relation to the obverse, suggesting that the dies were not properly aligned during the strike. This minor but visible rotation added yet another layer of uniqueness to the coin story. Now, how could all these errors possibly occur together? The answer lies in timing and oversight. Imagine a mint press being retooled, perhaps transitioning between coin runs, and a single leftover bronze planchet gets stuck in the feed mechanism. When production resumes, that planchet ends up being struck with a die that had already been misaligned during hubbing, and by the time it hits the press, the die had developed cracks due to overuse. The result, a single coin that perfectly encapsulates multiple stages of minting failure, becomes a masterpiece of error collecting. It's the kind of accident that can't be replicated even intentionally. And that's why this 1997 penny is worth so much money. When experts from grading agencies like PCGS and NGC examined it, they confirmed not only the authenticity of the errors but also the immaculate condition of the coin. Despite its age, it had retained its original luster, showing only minimal contact marks, meaning it likely never circulated. That pristine condition elevated its value exponentially because collectors pay premiums for coins that are both rare and well preserved. The final auction price for the coin hit a jaw-dropping $3 million, shocking even veteran numismatists who had never seen a modern-era Lincoln cent fetch such a high price. But that's the beauty of coin collecting, the market is driven by rarity, demand, and fascination, and this coin had all three. What's more interesting is that this discovery reignited interest in 1990s pennies, a decade that many collectors had previously overlooked, assuming modern coins had little chance of containing major errors. Suddenly, collectors began scrutinizing their 1997 cents, searching for anything unusual, doubling, off-center strikes, die chips, or color variations. And sure enough, several other minor varieties surfaced, including 1997 cents with small die cracks, plating blisters, and even partial collar strikes, though none came close in rarity or value to the legendary $3 million specimen. Another theory that surfaced among collectors was that some of these 1997 cents may have been experimental strikes conducted during metal testing at the mint, possibly as part of research into alternative compositions. While unconfirmed, this theory would explain the existence of a bronze planchet in a zinc production year. If true, it would make the coin not just an error but a historical artifact representing the mint's experimental processes. Collectors love these stories because they connect tangible objects to moments in minting history. What makes coins like this so fascinating isn't just their errors but the way those errors tell stories about human imperfection, industrial precision, and chance. Even in a controlled environment with cutting-edge machinery, things can still go wrong, and when they do, the results can be worth millions. The 1997 penny is a perfect symbol of that balance between perfection and chaos. Every tiny detail on it, the doubling, the cracks, the misalignment, even the slightly different tone of metal, all combine to make it irreplaceable. But what makes this story even more exciting is that there could still be others out there. Only a handful of these rare error coins have been confirmed, which means more might be hiding in plain sight, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or coin rolls waiting for someone observant enough to recognize them. So, how can you check your own 1997 pennies? Start by examining the date and lettering closely under magnification. Look for doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. Check for any lines that look like raised veins on Lincoln's shoulder or head, that could be die cracks. Weigh the coin if possible. Last 1994 1-cent coin, everyone to another thrilling episode where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and incredible stories that turn ordinary pocket change into life-changing fortunes, and today we're going to explore one of the most unbelievable discoveries in modern numismatics. The 1994 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike by being worth an astonishing $3 million, yes, you heard that right, a single penny from 1994. Something you could easily overlook, has turned out to be worth more than luxury cars, dream homes, or even a lifetime of savings, and the reason behind its astronomical value lies in a series of rare minting errors and mysterious production mistakes that have made it one of the most talked about coins in the collecting world. So sit tight and listen carefully, because by the time this story ends, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. The 1994 Lincoln cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Reverse Series that began in 1959 and ended in 2008, and although billions of pennies were minted in 1994 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, among those billions were a few extremely rare specimens that defied minting logic, coins that shouldn't exist but somehow slipped through the mint's strict quality control. And one of them, the legendary 1994 1-cent error coin, has achieved fame for being worth $3 million due to a combination of minting anomalies so unique that experts still debate how it even came to be. Now, let's start from the beginning, because understanding how such a coin could exist means understanding the minting process itself, where precision meets mass production. Each penny begins as a blank disc called a planchet, composed primarily of zinc with a thin layer of copper plating, and during the minting process, these planchets are fed into coining presses where they are struck by two dies, one for the obverse side featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait and another for the reverse showing the Lincoln Memorial design. The striking process happens with tremendous force, usually over 50 tons of pressure, to ensure every fine detail transfers correctly, and with billions of coins produced annually, the mint uses advanced machines to maintain uniformity, but as we all know, even machines aren't perfect, and that's exactly where magic sometimes happens, because a small misalignment, debris, or leftover metal can cause once-in-a-lifetime errors that turn ordinary coins into priceless rarities. The 1994 cent worth $3 million is believed to be one such product of an extraordinary combination of errors. The first and most obvious mistake is believed to be a double die obverse, where elements of the design on the front side appear doubled, especially visible on the date, 1994, the word Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust. Under magnification, this doubling looks like a shadow effect, with overlapping impressions that shouldn't be there, and this type of error occurs not during striking but during die creation, when the die receives two slightly misaligned impressions from the master hub, a rare phenomenon that produces only a small number of affected dies before the mistake is discovered and corrected. Collectors prize double die coins highly because they represent clear, dramatic minting flaws, and classic examples like the 1955 double die penny have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. But the 1994 penny takes things further, because the doubling wasn't the only error, it was struck on the wrong planchet. Instead of being struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet weighing 2.5 grams, this coin was struck on a leftover bronze planchet, the same type used before 1982 when the mint transitioned from copper to zinc. This means the coin weighs approximately 3.1 grams instead of the normal 2.5, a clear indication of an off-metal strike. Such errors are extremely rare, especially in the 1990s, because by then the mint had phased out old planchets completely, making it nearly impossible for a bronze blank to end up in the presses. However, human oversight or machinery mishaps can still result in these anomalies, and that's likely what happened here. During a coin production cycle, leftover blanks can sometimes get trapped in hoppers or feeders and remain unnoticed until a new batch begins, allowing an old blank to be struck with new dies, resulting in a transitional error, a type of minting mistake that collectors consider among the most valuable because it bridges two distinct eras of coinage. But the mystery doesn't end there. Further examination of the coin revealed die cracks and die chips scattered across both sides, indicating that the die used to strike it was deteriorating or damaged. Tiny raised lines running through Lincoln's shoulder and neck, along with small raised blobs near the rim, are telltale signs of this wear, and while such imperfections are often minor, on a coin already affected by a double die and off-metal strike, they add an extra layer of uniqueness. Even more astonishing, this particular 1994 cent also exhibits a subtle but noticeable off-center strike, meaning the design isn't perfectly aligned with the coin's edge, suggesting the planchet wasn't positioned correctly during striking. All these factors combined, the double die, bronze planchet, die cracks, and misalignment, make it an absolute minting marvel. When professional graders from PCGS and NGC examined this piece, they confirmed its authenticity and uniqueness, classifying it as a major mint error of the highest rarity. The combination of multiple errors on one coin is so improbable that experts estimate the odds at less than 1 in a billion. That rarity is exactly why collectors were willing to pay millions for it when it appeared at auction, with the final sale price reaching a mind-blowing $3 million. What's fascinating about coins like this is how they challenge our assumptions about modern minting precision. Many people think that major errors only occurred decades ago, when the minting process was less automated, but the truth is that even in the 1990s, errors could still slip through, especially during transitional years when the mint was experimenting with materials, dyes, or minting speeds. The 1994 penny's existence serves as proof that even modern coins can produce world-class rarities. Another theory among numismatists suggests that this coin may have been struck using a die intended for testing or calibration purposes, which could explain why it was paired with a leftover planchet. Sometimes, the mint uses test strikes to check die alignment, pressure, or detail clarity, and occasionally those test pieces are not properly destroyed, finding their way into circulation. If that's what happened here, the coin could be considered not just an error but also an experimental strike, giving it immense historical value as well as monetary worth. When we consider the combination of factors, wrong planchet, double die, off-center strike, and visible die deterioration, it becomes clear that the 1994 $3 million cent is not just rare, it's a perfect storm of minting oddities, a once-in-a-century creation. Its story is almost poetic. A coin meant to be just another penny instead became a legendary piece of numismatic history because of imperfection. For collectors, it represents the thrill of the hunt, the idea that hidden treasures still exist in everyday objects. Just imagine finding something like this in a jar of coins, a roll from the bank, or spare change from a store. It's the dream that keeps collectors searching. And what's more, it's entirely possible that there are still undiscovered 1994 error cents out there waiting to be found. There have been reports of minor double die varieties from 1994, as well as coins showing die cracks and plating blisters, but none so extreme as the one that reached the $3 million mark. Still, those smaller errors can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds, depending on visibility and condition, so every 1994 penny is worth checking. Here's what you should look for if you ever come across a 1994 cent. First, inspect the date and the word Liberty under magnification for doubling. Look for overlapping or shadowed lines, especially on the 9 and 4. Next, check for raised lines or blobs near Lincoln's neck, shoulder, or along the rim. Those could indicate die cracks or chips. Then, weigh your coin. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, that's a major clue it could be on a bronze planchet. Also, flip it over and check if the reverse is perfectly aligned. Any rotation could indicate an off-center or rotated die strike. And of course, overall appearance matters. The coin's color can sometimes reveal its composition. Bronze coins tend to have a richer, deeper reddish tone compared to the duller hue of zinc ones. The 1994 $3 million cent wasn't discovered by a professional numismatist but by a casual collector who simply noticed that something seemed off about its color and design, proving that anyone can make an extraordinary discovery. Once the coin was authenticated and graded as a genuine multi-error specimen, its fame spread like wildfire across the collecting community, sparking renewed interest in 1990s pennies. Auction houses described it as one of the most significant modern errors ever found, and the sale made headlines worldwide, reminding everyone that small details can lead